Kong approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is type Cessna 152 7 miles south of Victor Hotel Sierra Kilo 1,500 feet. Request clearance to transition.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Flight Simulator 2020 on the Xbox Series S. I'll tell you what, this game is really a winner in the console wars. Honestly, absolutely stunning the fact that you can buy an Xbox Series S for £250 in the UK, about $300 in America, similar sort of price in the rest of the world, and you can buy Game Pass for what, $10 a month and download this and be playing Flight Simulator, and it plays absolutely amazing. So in this little jaunt we're flying, well, to Hong Kong. That's Hong Kong you can see in front of us. Hong Kong Island dead ahead, Kowloon off to the left. We've got what would have been, I think, that would have been Stonecutters Island, where my left wing is right now. This all been reclaimed land now. It used to be separate. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put my flaps out, and I'm going to reduce my throttle a little bit, so we can slow down, so we can do a nice flyby up the harbour. In fact, we might circle. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see where our nose leads us. So, why Hong Kong? You're saying? Well, of course, Hong Kong, fantastic city. I actually lived in Hong Kong from 1982 to 1985 when I was young, from about 9 to 12 years old, because my dad was in the forces in the Royal Navy. So he got a posting out here, because back then Hong Kong still belonged to the British. Had to give it back in 1997. I kind of know what's gone wrong. Since then, with the communists taking over, so it's a bit of a nostalgia trip, and I think this is what's probably going to sell an awful lot of Xbox consoles, with Flight Simulator as well. This nostalgia. And lots of people also look back on Flight Simulator. Maybe you played it before on old computers. I know I played it on Apple II in 1982 in Hong Kong, well, 1983 probably. And it's absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. So this is Hong Kong Island again on the right. So HMS Tamar, where my dad worked, isn't actually in this rendering of Hong Kong yet. What is in is, I think the dockyard is there. You can see the remnants of the basin. I mean, HMS Tamar could well have been knocked down by the time they took the satellite imagery of Hong Kong. So, yeah, that's Shim Sha Shui, I think, over on the left, Kowloon. So Kowloon is the mainland side of Hong Kong, and then you've got Hong Kong Island itself here. And I'm pretty sure the Navy base, HMS Tamar, was after this big building. Now, this big building here on my right, this wasn't there. Okay, that was built afterwards. But there's like this little dogleg that sticks out into the sea, right where my propeller is now, and I think that bit of water there, that was the Hong Kong basin. Now I could be wrong, and then I'm pretty sure and then the Prince of Wales building was there. Now it could well have been knocked down. I mean, it could be just they just haven't rendered it in this game, because what they do with Flight Simulator is every few months they bring out packs which are free that have more cities and more areas in. Because you can see here there's definitely something odd going on with some of the things that are going on in the ground. Now, what we'll do now is if we just get a bit of height, so we put my engine speed up a little bit, drop a little bit flap to get a bit more speed. Cut back over Hong Kong Island again. I don't think we'll be able to see where I used to live, but you never know. So my dad worked in HMS Tamar, and his job was to go around looking at the various aerials and radar stations all around the Hong Kong territories. And we used to live in a road called Bonham Road, Poon Ham Do, that's about 88B Bonham Road. on a skyscraper. We were 18 floors up. On the 15th floor, and there was three basement levels, and it was kind of in the Central District area above Centre Street, if you know Hong Kong, what it was like then. I think to my left here, this is the Happy Valley area there. And the thing about the Navy is that, unlike the Army, who basically most people live on base, so if you're in the Army, you'll live in married quarters on base. The Navy put you out, with everybody else, with the normal people who live in Hong Kong, which made it a very interesting place to live, because you would come out of your front door and then go down Centre Street, and you were straight into a Chinese market with them skinning snakes alive and all sorts of strange things. There's, I think that's the Connaught building there, that round one. See, I'm sure all of this land down below now would have been built up now. But there's always a lot of reclamation going on. So, let's reduce airspeed if we can. More flaps. And what we're looking for is an L-shaped building. That was Bonham Towers. L-shaped building. It wouldn't be a big building compared to the buildings now. And we had the university on one side, the church and kids' school on the other. So many similar buildings there. I'll have to dig out some, go into Google Maps and find where, well, to actually see if it still is, use Google Street View to see if it's still there. So, one of the places we used to go quite often was up to the Peak, which is the top of Hong Kong, because again my dad had some aerials and radar stations up here. I guess it was probably just listening stations and things and transmitters that they had. Ooh, I think we're going to need more throttle to avoid crashing. Give it some flaps so we can increase our airspeed. This might be... Let's go over this bit here. Ooh, that was a little bit closer than I wanted to be. So I think that was the Peak there. I'd expected to kind of see some aerials. But again, this will all have changed since I was there. Then if we go over to the back of Hong Kong, say the back, the northern side, we kind of drop down towards Kennedy, which I think is Kennedy Towers off to the right. And then a place like Repulse Bay. Now I think this has changed incredibly. I don't think any of these high-rise buildings were there. Because you'd always come round to the north side of Hong Kong where the beaches were. Always incredibly beautiful. And one of the beauty was, because my dad was in the Navy and he worked on the aerials, he had to go to lots of different places around Hong Kong. He was allowed to have a car. Sometimes he'd have a Land Rover. So we could drive places, which was unusual because it's very expensive to have a car in Hong Kong. Very, very, very expensive. I think round here, this could be Repulse Bay-ish. I think, maybe. There was a beach. And then we would hire little boats off the Navy, and you could go out into the outlying islands again, and they would use it as an excuse to go and do maintenance on the aerials and listening stations and the stuff that were out there. And I can remember, piloting one of these boats back through Victoria Harbour, through Hong Kong Harbour, merrily rocking around. Look how absolutely fantastic this game looks. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I used to go to school on the mainland, on Kowloon. Still not mainland China, but Kowloon was the bit of the mainland China that belonged to us. The kind of deal with Hong Kong, I mean, it was nothing to be proud of for the British, but after the Opium Wars, China gave us Hong Kong in perpetuity. The island was ours forever, and we rented the new territories from the Chinese for 99 years, and that ran out in 1997, so that's why we had to give it back. Obviously, they would have said, actually, we want it all back. And, weren't militarily in a situation to say no, because they could have just turned the water off, and it would have been very bad. But now we're kind of seeing, the bad side of the Chinese taking over with the democracy movement and that nasty stuff that's going on over there now. But Hong Kong will always have a soft place in my heart for spending a couple of the happiest years of my life there. But I tell you what we'll do now. We've kind of had a little bit of a tour of Hong Kong. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's do the same thing again. Let's do it at night. Here we go. Let's go to the world map. It's night now. About there, isn't it? Set as departure. Fly. So we know we've got head southeast. Let's view Victoria Harbour at night time. Let's see the lights, and I'll tell you another little story. It loads in pretty... I mean, if you think about the data that's loading in, that's coming in off the internet.
Hong Kong approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is type Cessna 152.7 miles south of Victor Hotel Sierra Kilo 1,500 feet.
Wow, look at this.
Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Hong Kong approach.
So, what you can see sort of in the centre of the screen there, it's gone behind the pillar. So that little peninsula, that sticky out bit, I think that's, well, that used to be Stonecutters Island, which was actually an island. It's all been reclaimed and joined to the mainland. So it was like an army base. You could go there, army and navy base. You could hire chalets there and go for a couple of days. And what during the Second World War, it was used as an anti-aircraft battery and all this sort of stuff. And so there's lots of bunkers to explore and AA emplacements to explore, and there would always be soldiers and the police there on the firing range firing their guns. And I actually got a chance to fire a submachine gun while I was there as well, which was great fun. But one of the things I always remember is they had a saltwater swimming pool as well, but the chalets, in fact, let's fly over there. Okay, let's fly over there. So, let's put some flaps out so we can slow down a bit. Now, it didn't look anything like this in my day, but see where the greenery is. Imagine the chalets were there, okay, on this bit here, and they would look out over Hong Kong Island, which was that way. We come and then come around this way. Let's get rid of our flaps. And I kind of always remember standing there at night with my dad, and we'd be looking at the lights of Hong Kong kind of in front of us, like you can kind of see here. But they're a lot more spectacular in real place, because lots of the buildings would have big neon advertisements above them. You know, like the Seiko Citizen is a famous one. You'll see that in pictures of Hong Kong from the 80s. And he would stand there and would look at it and he'd go, "Remember this. people would give their right arm to see this view. I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, because it's, you know, it's up there with, you know, the view of New York across the harbour, you know, the view of the Grand Canyon, all this sort of stuff. Looking at, you know, Hong Kong Island at night was pretty amazing. You just remember this. I always have. I'm not sure if I'd want to go back to Hong Kong, because obviously it's changed so much. And the things that I enjoyed about Hong Kong, you know, being a forces kid, and, you know, you do sports. So my school would have been about 5 miles that way. If you did after school sports, you'd have to make your own way home. So I'd have to, by myself, jump on the underground, which would go underneath the harbour, and it would, you know, drop me off. I think I used to get off at Admiralty, which was right at the centre of Hong Kong shopping district, you know, the centre of one of the busiest cities in the world. I was like 11 years old in my sports kit, jump out, you know, have a wander around, go to the base. You go up to the guards on the base, and they would know that you were, you know, kidding. They say, "Oh yeah, see your dad." You go, "Yeah." And you wander through the base, go and see him, grab a can of pop off him, go to the swimming pool, have some chop suey or something, the naffy, you know, swim, and take the public light bus, get a taxi if we were feeling flushed because they had air conditioning, or get the normal bus. The best thing to do in Hong Kong was to get the double-decker buses. You would get the double-decker buses and you would go up and sit at the front, and honestly it was the best fairground ride in the world, because the roads in Hong Kong were like incredibly windy, and you would just be, they would zoom along through the buildings and, you know, against the cliff edges and things. It was absolutely amazing. We've got to be careful here, we haven't got that much height, have we? So, Microsoft Flight Simulator. You've got to get it, you've got to play it. Fly over your house. Fly the route you drive to work. Fly places you've lived. This is something else, isn't it? I mean, this is on a little, admittedly next-gen console. This is so beautiful. We need some lights on in this cockpit, don't we? Right, there we go. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies for the quality of the audio in the video. I do record these to Twitch, then export them back to YouTube. Hopefully this gives you a good impression of what this amazing game, this amazing achievement is all about. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.